Relevant risk terms. Before we move further in our discussion of risk management process, let's familiarize ourselves with some relevant risk concepts and terms. Keep in mind that these are not all the relevant terms or concepts, just the most important ones, which you should know now and understand. Some of these we have discussed before, and some of them we would discuss now. Inherent, target, and residual risk. As per COSO ERM, inherent risk is the risk to an entity in the absence of any direct or focused actions by management to alter its severity. In simple words, it is the risk present in any situation before anything is done about it. When you collect water from a stream to drink, there is an inherent risk of bacteria or other abnormalities being present in that water. If you decide to boil it or filter it before drinking, then you are taking some action to reduce the risk. Sometimes, inherent risk is also regarded as maximum risk or loss exposure. On the other hand, target residual risk is the amount of risk that an entity prefers to assume or accept in the pursuit of its strategy and business objectives, knowing that management will implement or has implemented direct or focused actions to alter the severity of the risk. Remember, we are talking about direct or focused actions. Carrying on with our water example, once you have boiled or filtered the water, you are targeting that the water is now relatively safe to drink. So that is your target level of risk. Actual residual risk is the risk remaining after you have taken some action to alter its severity. In this case, after you have boiled or filtered the water. Actual residual risk should be equal to or less than the target residual risk. That means that if you are accepting that water is free from at least more sinister bacteria, then your actual risk is equal to your target residual risk. This is where all the controls and risk responses and treatments come into play. There is a very nice funnel diagram in the Internal Audit textbook, Internal Auditing Assurance and Advisory Services by Ayrton Anderson, Michael Head, and Sridhar Ramamurthy, which shows the funnel where the inherent risk enters, and as you apply some controls and responses, the remaining risk is your residual risk, which comes out at the end. Where actual residual risk exceeds target risk, additional actions should be identified that allow management to alter risk severity further. So after checking whether boiling or filtering has made the water safe enough to drink, you learn that the water is still not safe enough to drink, meaning your actual residual risk exceeds your target risk, and you might decide now for further actions to clean that water before you actually drink it. Impact and likelihood. Principle 7 of COSO ERM requires organizations to assess severity of risk, and it defines severity as a measurement of considerations such as the likelihood and impact of events or the time it takes to recover from events. So it's the overall consideration of these factors. And assessed severity plays a crucial role in prioritizing of risks, which in turn has a crucial place in how effectively an organization manages its risks. We know that enterprise risk management focuses on managing risks to reduce the likelihood that an event will occur and on managing the impact when one does occur. Therefore, understanding these terms is central in understanding the effective ERM. ISO 31000 refers to impact as consequence, and it defines it as outcome of an event affecting objectives. Impacts can be certain or uncertain and can have positive or negative direct or indirect effects on objectives. And impacts can be expressed qualitatively or quantitatively. COSO ERM describes impact as result or effect of a risk. There may be a range of possible impacts associated with a risk. The impact of a risk may be positive or negative relative to the strategy or business objectives. While discussing the types of controls, we discussed that mitigating controls reduce the impact of the risk once the risk has materialized or the event has occurred. As we discuss examples like emergency response plans, fire escape protocols, insurance, etc. ISO 31000 refers to likelihood as a chance of something happening. COSO ERM explains likelihood as the possibility of a risk occurring. This may be expressed in terms of a probability or frequency occurring. Likelihood may be expressed in a variety of ways, as the following examples show. Qualitative: the possibility of a risk relating to a potential occurrence or circumstance and the associated impacts on the specific business objective is remote. Quantitative: the possibility of a risk relating to a potential occurrence or circumstance and the associated impacts on a specific business objective is, say, 80%. Frequency: the possibility of the risk relating to a potential occurrence or circumstance and the associated impacts on a specific business objective is once every 12 months. As you can see, there are a variety of ways in which likelihood can be expressed. It depends on each organization's preferences. In most cases, a combination of these methods is used. The important point is that whichever method or combination is chosen, it should be consistently applied and should be well known in the organization. Most likely should be part of the risk handbook or manual. See you in the next lesson when we continue our discussion on relevant and important risk terms and concepts.